Hey, what's going on, parents? Welcome back to another edition of Teenager Tuesday. If we haven't got a chance to meet, my name is Will, and I am here with the one and only McKinney campus pastor, Eric Sebastian. What's up, Eric?
What's up, dude?
Dude, welcome, man.
Glad to be here.
Question for you.
Yep.
You've got two kids. So Noah's the oldest.
Yep.
And he's going into sixth grade in just a few months.
To go into middle school.
About to come in. So if you had to pick a sport for Noah to be a professional athlete in, what sport would that be?
He's going to be upset with me because he loves football.
Okay.
So he would want me to say football.
Okay.
But I want him to play baseball.
Oh, yeah.
So it's probably his least favorite sport. So
really?
We'd have a little
easier on his body, less
easier on the body,
concussions,
you know.
More money.
More money. So just a long play for me.
That's right. You're
less concussions, more money.
You need a retirement.
I'll retire and travel. I'll watch you play. AA, AAA, we'll do it.
You'd be chaplain for me.
But, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and at this time, so it's, May's over, June, we're kind of in the thick of things. In fact, right now, a lot of people listening to this, your middle schooler might be at camp or your high schooler might be on the way to camp right now. And you having a middle schooler or an incoming middle schooler. I love the topic that we're kind of talking about that is simply like, if this is a question of a parent asking, how can I better plan next steps for them, for my kids as they grow up?
Yeah. And I think, right out of the gate, like, this is a great question, hopefully, that our parents are asking. How can I continue to nurture spiritually, the development of my students?
Yeah.
We were talking right before we started recording that Barna Research came out with some new data that said that this generation, Generation Z, so like 2001 and beyond, is the first generation born into a truly non-Christian culture. And so the fact that parents are saying, how can I raise my student up? How can I give them next steps to grow and develop in their faith?
Yeah, how to flourish in Babylon.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I think it symbolizes, Carol Dweck would say, a growth mindset as opposed to just a fixed mindset. They are who they are, or I can't do it. I'm powerless to influence them or to help them grow or develop.
A parent might even think, do they even want this from me?
Right.
Too,
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think this kind of speaks to the why of parenting and I think Proverbs 22:6 says this, which is an often quoted verse, but is applicable here. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it.
Yeah.
I think that this is a great thing for us, like as Christ followers and as Christian parents, to be able to it's like some scriptures to hang your hat on to go, exactly to your point. No, it is our responsibility to train them. It's not just like, hey, church, what are you going to do? Hey, Will, what's student ministry going to do? But what's our role in this as parents? How are we training up? How are we raising up our kids? And so
how would you go about even answering that question? Where would you start?
Yeah, and this is probably, this is kind of an annoying first answer, but I would answer that question with a question.
Okay, so you're like a parent right now.
Exactly.
Because parents do that. Kids, right?
So I'm giving the parents the parental approach. And the question that I would ask the parents is, how are you better planning next steps to grow in your faith personally?
Yeah.
What next steps are you taking to develop or to continue to grow in your faith? Because we're leading in this regime. We're leading in this stance of going. John talks about this all the time. I'm not going to ask. He says this to our staff. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do.
Yeah.
And so, what are we doing? So I would say, kind of first to that, is there a reading plan or, a prayer journal that you're keeping?
Are they in a group?
Are they in a group?
Right. A lot of people might not know you're also the lead groups pastor.
That's right.
So are you in groups, parents?
We have summer group starting in July.
That's
They're paying attention right now.
Yeah.
But those kind of things, is there a devotional guide that you're walking through, or a book of prayers, or just something to where how are you growing spiritually? And then I think secondly, bringing your kids into that narrative. I reminded of a pastor who talked about, I heard him teach this at a conference once, that his kids woke up every morning to him in his chair by the window.
That's cool.
Reading his word.
Yeah.
And so this image, and I heard at the conference from one of his kids, this was the image of my father.
Yeah.
And so how are you bringing them into that? How are you, becoming the type of person that you're wanting your student to become?
Yeah. Well, and I think something that we can fall into is that trap of I don't want to feel like I'm being forceful with what I believe to what they believe. I want to set an example, but oftentimes what I've found is where it just, that like shrinks us back.
Yeah.
You know, like Jeannie Mayo, she's like a legend of a pastor,
Right.
youth ministry in America.
Right.
Like she's been a youth pastor for almost, it was like 40 something years. But
Unbelievable.
she talked about how as a parent and as anybody leading somebody spiritually, how often do you get caught with your Bible? You know, like to your point of like, that's the kind of monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
More than like read your Bible, but then they can't see you.
Yeah.
You know, you may say it, but are they able to see it? Are you praying together more than just over food and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. And so I think that would be the first thing, is just how, putting the question back on us of how are we growing as parents.
Yeah.
But I think secondly, which this is going to be maybe, the more helpful or more pragmatic thing is, I would suggest some assistance, like the age old, adage, you can't, or was it about a village? You can't, or raise
it takes a village.
Takes a village. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's like T-shirts that say this.
Yeah.
But I think resources are a parent's best friend. Especially in that preteen, teenage years of knowing, man, I need some help here. And there's experts in this field, like in the Christian field, who have created so much content. And I put this, and a lot of it's free, know? And so it's easily accessible for us to get this.
Yeah.
And so here's some suggestions. I just kind of wrote some suggestions down for this. And number one, I put, starting here, hopefellowship.net/students. Because you're already listening. Like you're watching this on YouTube, you're listening to this right now, maybe even with your student we were talking about. So maybe you're listening to this right now. You guys have given families great resources on our website. Another one that I use personally is parentq.org, and they send a weekly email out every week. And man, I've even taken some of those times with my son Noah. My daughter is second grade, and we use this some with her, but specifically with my son, like we've done a couple of times where he and I will go to dinner. And I'll print off one of these things from their website.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what do you think about this? I've kind of got it, on my lap, or like printed off, or I'll put up on my phone.
I'm so unprepared.
I've got some questions that I'm just curious about.
Yeah.
But parentq.org is one. Growingleaders.com, which is Tim Elmore. You guys brought him in this past year.
Yeah.
And I obviously have so many great resources. With
they have a blog that you
millennials.
can follow too.
Yeah.
That they'll email out. There was one just the other day that was really, really good, talking about speaking the same language as your teenager, which is really good.
But for that, like millennial and the Gen Z generation, he is just like packed with stats and data and analytics and really good, like practical advice.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned prior to filming the Bible Project as well.
Yeah. Which are YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And that you can get on, and you can go through a series. They have books of the Bible. They have series. They have a lot of different just studies that makes it really easy to comprehend, and breaks very complex ideas down simply and makes it visual.
Yeah.
So like you incoming sixth grader, that probably helps to have something that's a 4 or 5 minute visual video that goes along with it that then you can talk about.
And we've used these for our like men's Bible studies in the past too. And they're like even like our guys in our church are like, those videos are incredible. They're awesome.
Yeah. Me and Elijah, the student pastor at McKinney, we went through one of their kind of shorter studies on the book of Jonah for a series that we wrote back in the fall. With the Bible Project. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, they have great stuff there. So I kind of said this. This is like trying to kind of pull one-liners for each of these. So the first one, asking the question to ourselves would be like us becoming the type of person that we want our kids to be. I think for this one, we'd say, take it in, which is the resources, like, downloading these resources ourselves, and then talk it out. So take it in, like, go to these websites, sign up to the newsletters, that kind of stuff, and then talk it out. Take it in and talk it out with your kids. Find creative ways to apply what we're learning.
Yeah.
And we've referenced a couple of these already, in the car with your kids, drop off, pick up, whatever, at the dinner table. Talked with a parent the other day, and they're saying that, they've started taking their daughter on walks in the evening, and it's just like, it's time for me to talk with my daughter about things. And so finding those things, we find at times with our kids personally, bedtime is a great, because they don't want to go to bed. We haven't come across a night yet in the history of our kids' lives where they're like, time to go to bed.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
We're ready. I don't want to stay up.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, if you're going to stay up, what are we talking
It's
about?
the time to wake up. That's they're like, we got it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, they love that.
Yeah.
But so at nighttime, like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we're kind of lingering at bed, so let's talk it through some stuff.
Well, and you kind of put down too, and I want to touch on this too, having goals.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Because that would be, I love that idea. To even just know where you're going. You can't. It's like starting a race with no finish line.
Yeah.
If you don't have at least an idea and a perspective or a time in that you want to get to.
Yeah. I mean, what's the old thing? Yeah, you fail to plan, then you plan to fail.
Mm-hmm.
So like, even thinking about that, like, if my student is in middle school, like, what are some goals that I have for, like, that we're working together on setting for, like, once you're finished with middle schoschool? Like, what do we want that to look like? Like, once you graduate from high school, what do we want that to look like? And it could be, like, we reference, like, I want them to go to summer camp, or I want them to go to summer camp for every year that they're in, student ministry. Are they in a small group? These are some goals.
Connected?
Are they connected? Yeah. Are they serving?
Yeah.
Man, we had a student leader meeting last night for our kids ministry at the McKinney campus, and it was just students in student ministry who are serving at McKinney in kids ministry. There's like 35, 40 students.
Yeah, I
there.
love that.
It's like, I mean, that's a goal of like, hey, my student wasn't one, but I want him to be.
Yeah.
So what are those goals? And I think even outside of maybe just like the spiritual arena, but like, I think we could go like, are there financial goals? Like, you want them to have good stewardship financially?
Yeah.
Is there, like, you were asking the question about sports, or are there like talent goals?
Yeah.
If you do dance, or you do gymnastics, or you do baseball or football or whatever these things are, if it's math stuff.
Yeah.
What are some goals inside of that as well? Not just like you're going to get the best score, you're going to be the best at this, but how are you influencing those around you?
One of the best goals I've ever heard that a parent gave their teenager is they sat him down in middle school and they said, my goal for you is that your senior year, you would have no rules.
Yeah.
From me, there would be no rules. But in order to get there, we got to build up to this level of trust.
Yeah.
And then your senior year, you have no rules because, like, as a
you're
middle schooler, you're
trustworthy.
like, I want to get to that.
Yeah.
I want to get to no rules.
So I wrote on here like a cell phone goal. And I thought of that because on the Parent Q newsletter that I got a couple weeks ago, John Acuff wrote, and he said he challenged his daughters between him and them, whoever like when you get your screen time updates every week on your phone, like how much time you're on your phone, he said if whoever has the least amount of screen time wins like $5 every week or something like that. And the name of the article was like best $5 I spend every week.
Oh yeah.
Because he's like competing with his daughters now of like, see, if you can spend less screen time than me, you get $5.
Yeah.
And so he's like, now we have this thing where like at dinner time, we don't even set the phones on the table. We don't even bring them to the table.
Yeah.
He's
That's
like,
cool.
And my kids are just using
That's the best
phone.
subscription you can have a month.
Yeah.
$20 a month.
Yeah.
Less screen time.
So I think it's setting these goals together and then creating checkpoints along the way.
Yeah.
We talk about this as a culture statement here at the church. The we is greater than me.
Yeah.
So we're doing this together, like parent and student. We're talking about these goals. It's not just like this is my goal for you and you better do it. But like, what are our goals together? What do we want to see the Lord do in your life? And
I love that. And I feel like that kind of habit sets you up even when they're out of the house.
Yeah.
To continue to do that kind of stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Paul says it in Ephesians chapter 4. This last thing for me, he says, fathers don't provoke, and mothers, parents, don't provoke your children to anger by the way you treat them. Rather, bring them up with the discipline and instruction that comes from the Lord. I think that's kind of the heart of what we're talking about today. You could take a passive approach or a fixed mindset approach, but this growth mindset says, how can I be a part of this? And training them up, discipling them with instruction that comes from the Lord. So
I love that.
Yeah, man.
Love it, Eric. Dude, thank you. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for asking me.
And we got to have you back. It'll be fun.
Let's do it.
Parents out there, you know this, but signing off, you can do this. You're not alone. God is with you, and so are we. Have a great week.
That's it.